Have you ever crossed a Sigma, betrayed their trust, pushed them too far? Well, here's the thing. If you have, you're probably already feeling the weight of your mistake. See, Sigmas aren't the type of people you can just walk all over. They don't need to shout, they don't need to make a scene, they just silently stand their ground. And when someone betrays them, they don't forget. In fact, those who think they've gotten away with it are often blindsided by the consequences. So, why is it that betraying a Sigma always comes back to haunt you? Stick around as we break down exactly why people who cross a Sigma never seem to escape the regret. 1. Sigmas have a razor-sharp memory. Sigmas are known for their attention to detail and their ability to remember key events that influence their lives. This isn't just about recalling names or dates, it's about remembering the feelings, actions, and consequences that surrounded certain events. This ability often extends beyond the ordinary person's typical memory, especially when it comes to betrayal or disappointment. Sigmas don't forget people who have wronged them, nor do they easily dismiss their actions. Their minds work like investigators. They analyze, reflect, and internalize each detail. They don't view betrayal as an isolated incident. Instead, they process the entire situation, from what led up to the betrayal to how it unfolded and ultimately affected them. They then use these insights to adjust their future behavior and interactions, both with the person involved and with others who may share similar traits. In a typical relationship, people may argue, forgive, and forget, but for Sigmas, it's different. If someone betrays a Sigma, it's like they've unlocked a permanent shift in the Sigma's perception of them. This shift isn't dramatic, and it's often subtle. Sigmas don't express their disappointment openly, but the change is there. They may keep their distance, withdraw emotionally, and carefully assess whether the relationship is worth maintaining. To others, it might seem like the Sigma is still interacting normally, but in reality, they're no longer fully invested. For example, after someone breaks a trust, like sharing a Sigma's personal secrets, that memory stays locked in their mind. It's not about holding a grudge, it's about understanding the betrayer's impact on the Sigma's personal peace. Over time, they might begin to notice that their interactions with this person feel off, or they'll gradually pull back. They might not even say anything directly to the betrayer. Instead, they let their actions do the talking. 2. Sigmas are masters of walking away. When Sigmas walk away from a situation, they don't do so out of anger or emotion. They do it because they've assessed that the situation no longer serves them, and they're unwilling to waste time on people or circumstances that bring them down. They possess a remarkable ability to disconnect emotionally from people and situations that are toxic, draining, or manipulative. This is one of the reasons why Sigmas are often seen as cold or unapproachable. By others, they simply have no tolerance for nonsense. Sigmas are independent by nature, and they prioritize their personal growth and peace above everything else. This often means that they won't hesitate to walk away from relationships, whether they are personal, professional, or romantic, if they feel that those relationships no longer align with their values or goals. Sigmas don't see relationships as a numbers game. While others might continue holding on to people out of guilt, obligation, or the hope that things will improve, Sigmas have no such compulsion. For them, walking away is an empowering act. It's not that they don't care, it's that they care too much about their own well-being to stay in situations that don't respect them. The reason why walking away is so painful for the betrayer is because of the suddenness and finality of the Sigma's departure. They don't argue or negotiate, they simply move on. This leaves the betrayer with no chance to make amends or explain themselves. Unlike people who might linger in conflict or have emotional outbursts, Sigmas disappear with the quiet certainty of someone who knows exactly what they want and what they won't tolerate. The person they leave behind is often left with more questions than answers. They may try to reach out, apologize, or offer explanations, but by then the Sigma has already moved on and doesn't feel the need to engage with someone who disrespected them. This finality can be jarring, especially when the betrayer realizes that the Sigma will never return to the relationship. 3. Sigmas operate on a code of loyalty. Loyalty is one of the most important values in a Sigma's life. Sigmas invest deeply deeply in those they trust and build relationships with. They take loyalty seriously, and they expect it to be reciprocated. If they feel that loyalty has been broken, whether it's through dishonesty, manipulation, or outright betrayal, they react strongly. The reach of loyalty isn't just a personal hurt, it's a moral violation in the Sigma's eyes. Sigmas are different from people who may stay in unhealthy relationships because of habit, guilt, or fear. For Sigmas, loyalty is part of their identity, and it dictates how they choose to engage with others. When they offer their loyalty, they give it fully. They don't expect loyalty from everyone, but when it's present, they invest in it deeply. But once loyalty is broken, it's not about just ending the relationship. It's about an internal shift in how the Sigma views that person. The betrayal fundamentally alters the Sigma's understanding of that individual, often beyond repair. For a Sigma, someone who betrays them has violated a deep moral code, and that's not something that can be easily forgiven, because it involves an inherent trust in someone that has been shattered. The betrayer, in their eyes, hasn't just hurt them. They've desecrated something sacred. The severity of this feeling isn't always visible on the outside because Sigmas don't tend to show their emotions in a dramatic way. They simply disengage and withdraw their loyalty. 4. Sigmas don't seek revenge. They let consequences speak. Sigmas understand the futility of revenge. They know it's a temporary fix that often escalates conflicts instead of resolving them. By stepping back and letting natural consequences unfold, they demonstrate a level of wisdom and self-control that many people lack. This approach is deeply rooted in their ability to detach emotionally from situations that don't serve their growth. When someone betrays a Sigma, the silence they receive in return is not a sign of weakness, but a deliberate act of strength. The Sigma recognizes that the betrayer's actions will eventually catch up with them, often leading to self-destruction or regret. This lack of immediate reaction creates an unsettling sense of anticipation for the betrayer. They expect retaliation, an argument, or some kind of closure. When they get none of these, they're left in a state of psychological unease. The Sigma's decision to move on without confrontation often forces the betrayer to confront their guilt and the full weight of their actions. Sigmas also understand that revenge can tarnish their own reputation. By choosing the high road, they maintain their dignity and avoid sinking to the level of the person who wronged them. This not only preserves their energy, but also enhances their image as someone who values their time and integrity over petty squabbles. 5. Sigmas value self-respect over reconciliation. To a Sigma, self-respect is non-negotiable. They see betrayal as a direct violation of their boundaries and principles, which are central to their identity. While others may be tempted to forgive and forget for the sake of harmony or fear of loneliness, Sigmas prioritize their own dignity above all else. Forgiving someone who has betrayed them does not mean welcoming them back. Sigmas understand that trust, once broken, is nearly impossible to rebuild to its original state. They believe that giving second chances to those who have shown a willingness to harm them only invites further disrespect in the future. This stance often leaves the betrayer feeling deeply regretful. When someone loses the trust and respect of a Sigma, they lose more than just a relationship. They lose access to someone who values honesty, loyalty, and mutual respect. Betrayers often come to realize that the Sigma was a rare individual who upheld strong principles, and their actions resulted in a permanent loss of that relationship. 6. Sigmas are unpredictable in the best way. Sigmas thrive on their independence and adaptability, which makes them incredibly hard to read. They don't adhere to typical emotional or social responses, and this unpredictability is one of their greatest strengths. Betrayers often expect a predictable sequence of events: confrontation, anger, perhaps eventual forgiveness. But with Sigmas, none of these outcomes are guaranteed. This unpredictability keeps the betrayer in a constant state of unease. They never know if the Sigma will confront them, ignore them entirely, or even address the betrayal in a way that exposes them without any direct interaction. This ambiguity often makes the betrayer regret their actions, as they lose any sense of control over the situation. The Sigma's ability to remain unpredictable stems from their self-reliance and refusal to be bound by societal expectations. This makes them highly adaptable in the face of betrayal, choosing their responses based on what serves them best, rather than what others expect. For the betrayer, this unpredictability creates a psychological imbalance. They're unable to anticipate or manipulate the Sigma's actions, which often leads to feelings of vulnerability and regret. The Sigma, on the other hand, maintains their composure and control, ensuring that the betrayer does not derail their life or their values.